Hey guys, my name's Colin. This is Colin Talks Crypto. I had a lot of requests to do another video in the series of how high is Bitcoin going to go during this current bull run? And also how high are other cryptocurrencies going to go during this current bull run? So this is the third part in the series. We're going to explore not only when the next peak may occur, but also what prices we may expect to see for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Thank you for joining me. All right, guys, so good to be back. The last video I did on this subject was about 6 or 7 months ago, so it is definitely time for an update. We have more market data, we have more graph history, and so we can now extrapolate, hopefully, a more accurate price. It is my belief that as time goes on, we will have the ability to have a more and more increasingly accurate price prediction and date for the next upcoming bull run. Now, there will be those, like in the last video I did, who say that past performance is not a guarantee of future performance. And that's absolutely correct. However, this is just one way of looking at Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And so we're going to use it as a tool among many others that we have available to us to explore the potentialities for what we might see for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. So the technique we're going to be using is comparing to the last bull run. And I'm going to extrapolate time and prices based on our position related to that last bull run. So on the screen right now, you have our current market cycle. This was Bitcoin hitting $20,000 in December and January of the late 2017, early 2018. And it's corrected over a period of many months. And here we stand today at the very end of May. Currently it is May 25th as I record this. And we've had a nice little uptick recently. So I feel like we've got enough data here to take another stab at a prediction. So I'm going to give you at the end of this video a price prediction and a date prediction. And here's the graph zoomed in. So again, this is May 25th right here. All right, on to the good stuff. So let's take a blast to the past. Last bull run, 2013 to 2016. So this was Bitcoin hitting $1,150. Now, this was a very long bull run. It was almost exactly 4 years in length to the actual peak. And I want to remind you guys that this here on the graph I'm showing you is not the end of the bull run. It went all the way to $20,000, which is way off the screen here, way up here. And it was at the end of 2018. So we're cutting this graph off here at this point so that we have a usable portion of it. Because after this part of the graph, it starts going parabolic and it dwarfs the rest of the graph data so that it becomes unusable for reference. And so we're still interested in this part of the graph cycle. And I've drawn a pink line through the curve. This curve is apparently always visible in retrospect. After we've gone through the cycle, we can look back and actually see that there was a sort of a bowl shape, a very regular curve to the graph. And there's lots of volatility and over and under corrections. But on a very zoomed out view, we have a very clear bowl shape. And that's been true for every bull run that I've seen. So we're going to use that and extrapolate the current bull run. So in the last video, I guessed that we were about here, based on the current data I had. At that time, about 8 months ago, Bitcoin was about $6,000. And actually, shortly after doing that video, it took another plummet down to the 3,800 range where it actually bottomed out. And since then, it has climbed back out of that little gutter that it dug for itself. So I would say actually at the time of recording that last video, we were more like right about here. And of course, we have more history to draw upon. So of course, it's easier to say that. You know, we're just doing the best with what we have at our disposal at that moment. And I would say this was equivalent to that 6,000 to 3,800 drop that we saw shortly after that last video. And so now, as I said, and this was correct, we were in the accumulation period. And I said in that video, if you go back and watch it, that we had about 6 months, 4 to 6 months of accumulation left. And that was dead on. And we just exited what I would consider to be the prime accumulation period. Not to say that you couldn't still accumulate, because as you're going to see in the rest of this video, we have so much more to go. But I would say that, yeah, you did miss the prime accumulation period. If you didn't buy any crypto then, I would say this is your next best chance. So this is just a recap of what we covered in the last video. So where are we actually as per today's graph data? I think we're a little more accurate. So I would say that we're right about here. We just had a run up, And keep in mind, this is the cycle from 3 and 4 years ago. But I would say that the equivalent position of today, 2019, that we are on that graph is right about here. So like I said, we're just out of the accumulation period, of the most prime accumulation period. Now I've drawn some points on the graph here, just like the last video. Point A is the previous bull run peak. Point B is where we are today. And point C is where we will peak out. And I'm going to be overlaying my predictions again on top of this previous graph. So we know that where we are today is 17 months from the previous bull run high at the end of 2017 and the beginning of 2018. So it's been 17 months, guys, since we saw our last bull run peak. Quite a long time. It's actually not as long as the previous bull run, so we're still running a little faster than the previous bull run. So if you look on this down here, this overall timeline, you can see that this slice is what this graph is showing you. But if we actually look at the entire timeline all the way from point A to point C, we can see that we're about halfway, a little less than halfway, right? Point B is about 45% of the way to point C. So we're going to use that. And we're going to take 17 months and reverse engineer 45% of that. Then what would 100% be? Well, 100% of that would put point C at January 2021. Now it's worth noting that in my previous video, I predicted April of 2020. So this is a little bit later than that. And again, we're getting more accurate data here, I feel. So January 2021 for the next peak of the current bull run. That's the when. So next we want to cover how high is Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. How high are they going to go? And on this Bitstamp chart, we can look at some of the previous cycles. Again, I just want to draw your attention to the bull curve nature of each of these cycles. There's this rounded shape, very almost smooth rounded shape to each one of these cycles. And as you move forward, they look smaller and smaller. But if you zoom in on these, they are very smooth bowl shapes. So on this first one here, we're going to take this green one as the first one. We went from $11 at the relative low to $255 at the next peak right here. That's a 23x increase. The next bull run went from $70 at the relative low to $1,150 at the peak. That's a 16x increase. The next bull run, the previous one to the one we're currently in, went from the end of 2013 for 4 years all the way to the end of 2017. Like I said, basically 4 years exactly. It went from a bottom of about $230 roughly to about $20,000 at the peak at the end of 2017. That's an 86x increase. And as I observed in the previous video, there does seem to be a correlation to the length it takes for the bull run cycle to complete and the amount that the multiplier is. The bigger the time frame, the higher it climbs. So in a way, the longer you wait, the greater your rewards, roughly speaking. Just an observation. So our current cycle is actually pretty long. And like we showed in our previous charts, we have about 37 months until this bull run completes its cycle from start to end. And we are 17 months of the way through, and we have 20 months to go. Just going to highlight that down on the bottom here for you. So now that we have established it will take 37 months for the current bull run, we can do some math here. We know that 37 months is 77% of 48 months, okay? So if we have 77%, we're going to take 77% of this price increase. And what's 77% of 86x? It's 66 times increase. So I predict that we're going to see our next bull run in January 2021. And I also predict that the price is going to be 66x the value of the current bull run's low. And that was about $3,300. So if you take 66x and multiply it times the low, 3,300, you get $218,000. So actually that was right smack dab in the middle of my previous estimation, guys. So I pulled up the previous thumbnail I made, and look, we're right smack dab in the middle of that prediction. I said I thought we would hit between 138,000 and 300,000. And so what I'm currently predicting is 218,000, like literally half of that prediction. And so this is honing in a little more razor sharp on that prediction. to simulate the current bull run with previous performances, if we only hit a 16x increase, we would only hit $53,000 this current bull run. And if we only hit a 23x increase, like we did in this early 2013 bull run, we'd only hit $76,000. But our bull run is basically 3 years long. It's not quite this 4 years long. So with the 3-year time frame, we expect to see a 66x increase. That's $218,000. So I want to point out, and it almost goes without saying, that this is just an approximation. It's just a simulation model based on a previous bull run, and take it for that. It's not a factual, this is absolutely down to the penny the price it's going to be. But I do feel it is fairly accurate. And so it's going to be fun to watch this as it unfolds. And I plan to do another one every 4 to 6 months and just update it with the more accurate history. And we'll get closer and closer to the actual peak as time goes on. So now let's jump into some cryptocurrency altcoin price predictions. What else do we have here, guys? Well, here's what I think is going to happen. So first of all, I took the low, just like I did here, the low of the current bull run for each of these cryptocurrencies. And we're going to cover Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, EOS, Stellar Lumens, and Cardano. And the 66x is mirroring the expectation that we have for Bitcoin at the next peak. And the 40x is kind of a medium or low ball estimate on what we might expect. And a lot of this comes down to the fundamentals of the cryptocurrency. And I'm going to let you guys determine what is a high quality fundamental coin. I have my opinion, and I guess I'll share that as well. But it's up to you guys to determine what you feel is the strongest cryptocurrency fundamentally. And that's what you should be invested in for the next bull run. So I'll give you my opinion, and everything in this video is just to be taken as opinion, not investment advice whatsoever. So for Ethereum, if we saw a 40x increase, we would see $3,600 from the low of $90. If we saw a 66x increase, we would see $5,940. And I think that Ethereum is one of the stronger ones. I think that we very likely will see the Casper sharding implementations of Ethereum 2.0 well on its way. And so we could be at the upper bounds. Plus, this is such a strong cryptocurrency historically, I feel like we'll hit the upper bound of this price range. Bitcoin Cash had a low of $80. At a 40x increase, we would see $3,200 for this peak bull run. And at a 66x increase, we would see $5,280 at the peak. And Bitcoin Cash is a very strong contender. I do want to take this moment to point out that the entire prediction I'm making for Bitcoin could fail if, and I think when, fees inhibit adoption. And I want to say that really clearly because it is so important. Because if you have $50, $100, $200 fees, like I think we're going to see on this upcoming bull run, I think we're going to see huge fees. And I think that is going to put a damper on the bull run. These price estimates here, 218,000, that would be assuming that there was room in the blocks for all transactions with no hindrance to fees whatsoever. We're going to see some friction with these high fees. So I think that if we don't hit this, the only reason we're not going to hit this is because Bitcoin's fees are going to be too high because of its failure to scale. I don't want it to be that way, but I'm just calling it as I see it. And that's what I see. I see fees inhibiting this. This is the ideal picture. I really hope we see it. I don't think we will because of fees only. So Bitcoin Cash can scale. And I think that some of these other cryptocurrencies, specifically Bitcoin Cash and EOS actually, are going to be the ones that offload a lot of that pushed off volume due to high fees on Bitcoin. I think that Bitcoin Cash and EOS are going to catch those customers with open arms. That's just my prediction. I know that's very controversial, and I'll get some haters in the comments for that, but that's okay. I'm just calling it like I see it. Okay, so I think that Bitcoin Cash will see the upper bounds of this, perhaps more, because it is a direct swap-in replacement for Bitcoin. You can use almost the same code, aside from SegWit and Lightning Network over complexities. The base layer, layer 0, is a basic direct swap-in for Bitcoin Cash. So if anyone doesn't want to use Bitcoin, they can use Bitcoin Cash as a merchant very easily and catch all those customers that they might be otherwise losing to high fees. Litecoin. $24 at the low of this current bull run. At a 40x increase, I think we'll see $960. At a 66x increase, I think we'll see $1,584. Now, Litecoin to me doesn't have very strong fundamentals. It is a very strong legacy coin, grandfathered in from the beginning, so it has duration. I think duration is its only asset. It doesn't have any aspiring qualities to be anything better. It has a little bit higher capacity because of smaller block times, so it could catch some of the falling knives that Bitcoin drops. So I think I'll get a 40x increase on Litecoin. I don't think it'll hit the 66x. I think we're going to hit the low end of the spectrum on Litecoin. EOS's low at the current bull run was $1.80. At a 40x increase, I think we'll see $72. At a 66x increase, that's $119. I think EOS has a chance to actually surpass 66x, but we'll keep it at 66x for the sake of this video. So $119. There's just so much innovation happening on EOS. It's unbelievable. It's only been around for a year. It has free transactions, 12 character account names. It has on-chain governance system. You can vote. There's a resource exchange where you can lend resources and make a profit on your staked tokens. The original interim constitution has been replaced with a EOS user agreement. There's just so much innovation that's happened on this. You know, any of the stuff that happened at the beginning of the launch with frozen coins and all that, that's no longer the case. Just in case you haven't heard, that's no longer possible because the new constitution makes the previous ECAF inoperable. It's no longer a thing. So I feel very bullish about EOS. It's actually one of my top picks for this upcoming bull run, up there with Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin. But again, EOS has no transactional limits. It's not going to hit a ceiling, you know, so when Bitcoin starts hitting those $100, $200 fees, I think EOS is going to be one of those ones onboarding a lot of users that are pissed off about fees. So I think we'll hit at least $119, could be more. Stellar Lumens hit a low of 8 cents. At a 40x increase, that's $3.20. At a 66x increase, that's $5.30. Cardano hit a low of 3 cents. At 40x, that's $1.20. At 66x, that's $2. Okay, guys, that's what we've got here. That's my predictions for the upcoming bull run. It's extremely exciting. I'm moving to Puerto Rico so I can take advantage of Act 22 for all gains made after January 1st of this year, once I become a resident. And I'm making that a priority because, like I said, I see some huge numbers happening in the 20 months to come, and I want those taxed at 0%. I am not giving that to Uncle Sam. That's my hard-earned money. So going to Puerto Rico, I'll keep you guys updated with more videos on that. And you know, last thing I have for you guys is just remember this. HODL. Peace, guys.